The sun was already hot when Ella reached the filling station. Her palm was wet with sweat, but it was not from the heat. It was from fear. In her hand, she held the last money in the house. Notes folded neatly. Notes her stepfather, Mr. John, gave her that morning. "If you lose this money," he had said, his eyes cold, "don't come back to my house." House, not home. It had never been home for her. Ella stood in the queue with a small black jerrycan. Cars honked. People shouted. The smell of fuel was strong. Her heart kept beating fast as she imagined Mr. John's face if anything happened. She shifted her weight from one leg to another, hugging the money tight. Then she saw him. He was sitting on the low fence beside the station. His clothes were dirty. His hair was rough. His beard was full and uncombed. His slippers were almost finished. He looked like someone who had slept on the street for many days. At first, she tried to pretend she did not see him. She looked away. She focused on the pump, on the cars, on anything else. But his eyes, they rested on her softly, not begging, just tired, deeply tired. When the car in front moved, she stepped forward with the line. The man tried to talk to the driver ahead of her, but the driver wound up his glass and drove off angrily. "Please, sir, just small money for food," the man whispered. Nobody cared. Ella swallowed hard. She knew this life, the life of being invisible, of talking and no one hearing, of breathing and people wishing you would stop. Her chest tightened. When it was almost her turn, the man moved closer. Not too close, just close enough for his low voice to reach her. "Please, my daughter," he said gently. "I have not eaten since yesterday. Just small money. I will manage." Ella's hand closed tighter around the notes. Her stepfather's voice rang in her head. "If you lose this money, don't come back." She saw again the way he raised his belt, the way her mother looked away, the way her stepsister, Clara, smiled in the corner whenever she was beaten. They hated her. They hated her presence. They hated her breath. Sometimes she heard Clara saying, "I wish this girl will just disappear." And Mr. John would answer, "One day she will." Ella blinked fast, trying to push the memory away. "Please," the man said again. His eyes were not proud. They were not shameless. They were just hungry. Ella looked at the fuel pump, looked at her jerrycan, looked at the queue behind her. Someone hissed impatiently. "You are wasting time," a man shouted from the back. Ella felt her heart pulling in two directions. If she helped him, she would suffer. If she walked away, she would not sleep at night. Slowly, she opened her hand and stared at the folded notes. It was not even much, just enough to buy small fuel so the generator could work in the evening. She imagined Mr. John's face in the dark, shouting, "No fuel? Are you useless?" Her throat burned. She looked at the stranger again. Up close, he looked older than she first thought, maybe in his late 30s, but there was something calm in his eyes, something that did not match his dirty clothes. She stepped out of the line. "Take it," she said quickly, before her courage could run away. The man blinked, surprised. "No, my daughter, not all. Just small." "Take it," Ella repeated, pushing the money into his hand. "Buy food. Eat." Her voice shook, but she held his gaze. For a moment, time slowed. The man looked at the money as if no one had ever done that for him before. His eyes glistened. He swallowed like someone fighting tears. "What is your name?" he asked quietly. "Ella," she replied. "Thank you, Ella," he whispered. "May God remember you the way you remembered me." She stepped back, suddenly afraid of her own decision. The people in the queue stared, some with shock, some with anger. The pump attendant waved her forward, but she shook her head, took her empty jerrycan and walked away. With no fuel, with no money, with no excuse. As she left the station, her legs felt weak. Her heart pounded hard in her chest. "He will kill me today," she thought. Ella stood at the gate for a long time before she opened it. The compound was not big, but it felt like a prison. The walls were high. The ground was rough. Clothes hung on lines. A plastic chair sat under a small mango tree. It looked like a normal place, but inside that house she was not wanted. She stepped into the sitting room slowly, carrying the empty jerrycan. The fan turned lazily above. The TV was on. Her stepsister, Clara, sat on the sofa, painting her nails and chewing gum. The generator was silent. Nipa had taken light again. Mr. John sat on another chair, shirt half open, stomach pushing out, a bottle of beer on the table in front of him. They both turned when Ella entered. Their eyes went first to her face, then to the jerrycan, then back to her face. Where is the fuel? Mr. John asked, his voice flat. Ella's throat went dry. Her fingers tightened around the handle. I couldn't buy it, she said softly. Clara smiled immediately. That wicked, slow smile. She said. What did you do this time? Mr. John stood up slowly. His chair scraped the floor. He was not a tall man, but in that moment he seemed to fill the room. You couldn't buy it, he repeated. Why? Ella opened her mouth. No words came. Talk, he shouted. Her body jumped. I gave the money to someone, she whispered. At the filling station. A man, he was hungry. He begged. Before she could finish, the slap landed. Hard. Her head turned to the side. The jerrycan fell from her hand and rolled away. Her ear rang. Her eyes filled with tears. You gave my money to a beggar? Mr. John roared. Are you mad? Clara laughed from the sofa, clapping softly. This girl wants to die, she said. Ella tried to steady her breath. I'm sorry, sir. He had not eaten since yesterday. Another slap. This time from the other side. Her lips split. She tasted blood. Does he live in this house? Mr. John shouted. Does he buy food for you? Does he pay rent here? Does he buy clothes for Clara? No, sir, Ella whispered, tears falling now. Then why is his hunger your problem? His voice shook with anger. Do you see me as a fool? You want to disgrace me? You want people to say I cannot control my stepdaughter? Is that it? Ella shook her head quickly. No, sir. I swear. The belt came off his waist in one sharp movement. Her heart stopped. Daddy, please, beat her well, Clara said, crossing her legs comfortably. Maybe she will disappear one day. He raised the belt. The first stroke cut across her back. Fire spread over her skin. She cried out, her voice cracking. Stop crying, he shouted, beating her again. Useless girl. You eat in this house. You sleep in this house. You breathe my air. And still you throw my money away. He whipped her shoulders, her arms, any place the belt could reach. She tried to cover her head with her hands, but the leather still found her. Her mother came out from the kitchen, wiping her hands on a towel. She paused at the door, watching. John, please, she said weakly. She is still a child. She is no child, he shouted back. She is a curse. If she cannot obey simple instruction, she should leave my house. Ella looked at her mother, eyes begging. But her mother's eyes dropped to the floor. She said nothing more. After many strokes, Mr. John finally stopped. He was breathing hard. Sweat covered his face. If you ever, he said slowly, pointing the belt at her, ever give my money to a stranger again, I will throw you out. Do you? Hear me? Yes, sir, Ella sobbed. Now go inside. Before I change my mind. She picked up the jerrycan with shaking hands and walked to her small room at the back of the house. As she closed the door gently, she heard Clara's voice from the sitting room. I hate that girl, Clara said. Even the way she breathes annoys me. Her mother's silence was louder than any answer. Ella sat on the thin mattress, hugging her knees, her back burning. Tears rolled down her face and dropped on her skirt. Why was I born? She thought. Why did God put me here? She remembered the dirty man's eyes at the station, the way they shone with gratitude, the soft thank you Ella on his lips. She cried harder. If she could go back, would she change her decision? She did not know. Across town, in a quiet corner of a large hotel, the same dirty man sat on a clean white bed. The room was big and neat. There was a suitcase on the table, a laptop on the desk, a black suit hanging inside the open wardrobe. The smell of fresh soap still hung in the air. He had just finished his bath. His name was Michael. He dried his hair with a towel and looked at himself in the mirror. Without the dirt on his face and the torn shirt, he looked like what he really was. A billionaire. The owner of M-Tech Group. The same man people greeted with respect in meetings. The same man banks called with their best offers. The same man newspapers wrote about. But earlier that day, nobody at that filling station saw any of that. They just saw a dirty man. And that was exactly what he wanted. Michael sat on the edge of the bed and picked up the folded notes lying beside him. The money Ella had pressed into his hand. He smoothed them gently with his fingers, as if they were more valuable than all the millions in his account. Ella, he whispered her name quietly. He could still see her face. Young, tired, scared, but full of something many rich people around him did not have. Compassion. He had started this test 3 months earlier. He was tired of fake smiles, tired of people who bowed only to his money, tired of friends who disappeared when he pretended to be broke, tired of women who loved his car but could not stand his true self. So he began to move around, sometimes in dirty clothes. No car, no driver, no sign of wealth, just an ordinary man, or even less. He watched how people treated him. Most walked past. Some insulted him. A few threw small coins at him without even looking at his face. He had seen kindness, but never like what he saw that morning. That girl had nothing. He knew it from her cheap slippers, her old skirt, the way she held the money like it was life itself. Yet she gave everything away. To him. Michael closed his eyes for a moment. He remembered the fear in her eyes when she looked at the pump. He could tell that money was not hers. He could tell someone was waiting for it. And still she chose hunger for herself and possible trouble, just to answer the cry of a stranger. His chest grew tight. He stood up, walked to the desk, and opened his laptop. The screen lit up with his company logo. He opened a file. Community Empathy Project, Phase 2, the title read. There were names there already. People he had found during his tests. People whose lives he had quietly changed. School fees he had paid. Shops he had helped them open. Hospital bills he had cleared. He moved his cursor to the next empty line. He typed slowly. Ella, girl at filling station. Gave her last money. He paused. He did not have her surname, or her address, or anything. All he had was her first name and the memory of pain in her eyes. He frowned slightly. How do I find you, Ella? He murmured. He could send someone to that filling station to ask questions. He could speak to the manager there. He could even check the CCTV if they had one. He would try everything, because something in his spirit told him. This girl did not just need food. She needed rescue. Michael closed the laptop and walked to the window. From up there, he could see part of the town. Small houses, busy streets, people moving like tiny dots. Somewhere among them, she was walking home with an empty jerrycan and a full storm waiting for her. I will find you, he whispered, his hand resting on the glass. You may not know it yet, but your life is about to change. 2 weeks passed. For Ella, they felt like 2 long years. After the beating that day, things grew worse in the house. Mr. John stopped giving her any money to buy small things from the market. If there was an errand, he sent Clara. If there was food, Clara ate first. If a plate broke, it was Ella's fault, even if she had not touched it. You like to throw things away, he would say. Money, plates, everything. Her mother became quieter. She still cooked. She still washed. She still moved around the house. But whenever Ella tried to talk to her alone, she brushed her off. Please, don't provoke your stepfather, she said weakly one night. Just obey him. We don't want more trouble. Am I trouble? Ella asked softly. Her mother did not answer. One evening, when the heat was thick and heavy, Mr. John called her into the sitting room. There is no space for lazy people in this house, he said. Tomorrow, go and look for work. Any work. You are already in your 20s, eating like a child. If not for your mother, I would have chased you out since. Clara smirked. Let her go and suffer small, she said. Maybe the sun will dry her stubbornness. Ella nodded quietly. Yes, sir, she said. That night, while everyone slept, she lay awake on her thin mattress, staring at the ceiling. Work, she repeated in her mind. She would work. She would save. One day, she would leave this house. The next morning, she wore her cleanest clothes. A simple long skirt. A faded but neat blouse. She combed her hair into a low puff. She had no money for transport, so she walked. From shop to shop. From street to street. Good morning, sir. Please, do you need a sales girl? Good morning, Ma. Please, any vacancy? Most said no. Some did not even let her finish. By afternoon, her legs hurt. Her throat was dry, but she kept moving. Finally, someone told her, there is a big company not far from here. They are looking for cleaners. Go there. Maybe you will be lucky. A company? Her heart beat faster. She followed the directions. Soon, she stood in front of a tall glass building. It looked like another world. The name on the signboard made her breath catch. M-Tech Group. She had heard that name before on TV. It was a big company. Rich owner. Powerful. Far from her world. She almost turned back. What am I doing here? She thought. I am nobody. But then she remembered Mr. John's voice. Go and look for work. Any work. Cleaning was work. She could sweep. She could mop. She could wash toilets if they allowed her. She walked through the gate slowly. The security man at the door looked her up and down, but he did not stop her. Maybe he was tired. Maybe he thought she was going to see someone. Inside, the air was cool. The floor shone. People moved around in neat clothes. Ella felt very small. She went to the reception desk and leaned forward carefully. Good afternoon, she said. Please, I heard you are looking for cleaners. The lady at the desk looked at her without smiling. Do you have any experience? She asked. I clean at home, Ella said honestly. I can do any work. I will learn. The lady clicked her tongue. Fill that form. She pushed a paper and a pen toward her. Ella filled it slowly, writing her name carefully. Sit and wait, the receptionist said. Ella sat on one of the chairs in the waiting area. Her heart refused to calm down. She watched people go in and out through a glass door. Some walked fast, carrying files. Some laughed with each other. After some minutes, the receptionist picked up a phone and spoke quietly. Then she turned to Ella. Someone will attend to you soon. Just wait. Behind the glass door, in a neat office on the top floor, Michael was signing some documents. He wore a dark blue suit. His hair was trimmed. His beard was neat now. He looked every bit like the man the world knew. There was a knock. Come in, he said. His HR manager walked in, holding a file. Good afternoon, sir, she greeted. We have a young lady at the reception. She came to apply for the cleaner position. I just thought to bring her form up because of... She hesitated. Because of what? Michael asked, looking up. The manager smiled. Because of her answer, she said. In the space where we asked, why do you want this job? She wrote something different. She handed him the form. Michael took it, not thinking much. Then he saw the name written at the top. Ella. His heart skipped. He read the next line slowly. I just want a place where I am not hated for existing. He stopped breathing for a moment. Sir, the manager asked quietly, should we call her in? Or just add her to the list? Michael's fingers tightened slightly on the paper. Call her in, he said, his voice calm but firm. I want to see her myself. Downstairs. Ella sat with her hands joined, whispering small prayers in her heart. God, please, let them accept me. I will work hard. I will not complain. Just give me small chance. Ella. She looked up quickly when she heard her name. The receptionist pointed at a young man in a shirt and tie. Follow him, she said. The HR wants to see you. Ella stood, wiped her damp palms on her skirt, and followed the staff through the glass door. The corridor was quiet. Their footsteps sounded loud on the floor. They stopped in front of an office, and the staff knocked gently. Come in, a woman's voice answered. Inside sat the HR manager, a woman in her 40s, neat and serious. She smiled politely. Sit down, she said. Ella sat on the edge of the chair. You came for the cleaner position, the woman started. We don't pay much. The work is hard. Why do you want it? Ella swallowed. Her eyes dropped to her hands. I need to leave my stepfather's house one day, she said honestly. I need to save. He doesn't want me there. Nobody wants me there. If I have work, I can breathe small. The manager watched her quietly. You wrote here that you want a place where you are not hated for existing, she said. Who hates you? Ella's lips trembled. My stepfather. My stepsister. Sometimes even my mother. They say I am a burden. A mistake. They say I should have died with my real father. The words tasted bitter in her mouth, but she let them come out. The manager's face softened. Before she could ask more questions, There was a light knock on the inner door of the office. "Come in," she said. The door opened, and Michael walked in. He had left his jacket outside. He wore a simple white shirt now, sleeves rolled up. He looked like a calm, busy boss who was just checking on his staff. But the moment Ella saw him, she froze. Her mind stumbled. The beard was trimmed now. The clothes were clean. But the eyes, those eyes, her breath caught in her throat. It was him, the man at the filling station, the man she had given her last money. Her fingers tightened around the edge of the chair. "Good afternoon," Michael said lightly, looking first at the HR manager, then at Ella, as if seeing her for the first time. "Is this the applicant?" "Yes, sir," the manager replied. "She came for the cleaner position. I was just asking her some questions." Michael nodded slowly, his gaze resting on Ella more fully now. "And what is your name?" he asked, even though he already knew. "Ella, sir," she stammered. Something flickered in his eyes. The tiniest smile touched his lips, then disappeared. "How old are you, Ella?" he asked. 22, sir." He nodded again. The HR manager glanced between them, a bit curious at his interest. "We have many applicants," she said, "but her case looks special. She has no experience in companies, but she seems willing to learn." Michael leaned against the table gently. "Do you remember seeing me before?" he asked Ella softly. Her heart jumped. I think so, sir," she whispered. "At the filling station. You were not dressed like this." The HR manager looked confused. "You know her, sir?" Michael smiled slightly. "She helped me," he said, his eyes still on Ella. "On a day when no one else wanted to look at my face." Ella's mouth opened a little. Her mind ran back to that morning. The dirt, the tired clothes, his hungry voice. You were just testing?" she asked in a shaky voice. "In a way," he answered. "I need to see how people would treat me without my name, my car, my suit." He paused. "And you?" Ella gave me everything in your hand. Tears rushed to her eyes. She looked down quickly, embarrassed. "I got into trouble for that, sir," she whispered. "My stepfather beat me. They hate me more now." The room went silent for a moment. Michael's chest ached at her words. The HR manager cleared her throat gently. "Sir, should we proceed with the cleaner slot for her?" "Or, not cleaner," Michael cut in quietly. His voice was calm but firm. "We can find a better place for her." Ella looked up sharply. "Sir, I can clean," she said quickly. "I don't mind. I just need small salary. I don't want to cause problem." Michael smiled softly at her humility. "I know you can clean," he said, "but someone who can give her last money to a stranger is someone I want closer." He turned to the manager. "Find a junior administrative position for her," he said. "Let her start as an office assistant. She will learn fast. I will take responsibility for her training." "Yes, sir," the HR manager replied immediately, surprised but respectful. Ella stared at him, confused. "Office assistant," she repeated. The word sounded too big in her mouth. Michael nodded. "You deserve more than toilets and mops, Ella." Tears slipped down her cheeks. "Why are you doing this for me, sir?" she asked in a small voice. He looked at her gently. "Because when I looked worthless, you treated me like a human being. Now I want to give you a life where no one can treat you like you are less than that." He straightened and walked toward the door. "At M-Tech," he added, "we don't hate people for existing." He left the office quietly. Ella sat there, shaking, her heart full. Ella started work the following Monday. She woke up before dawn, washed quickly, and dressed in the simple office clothes the company had given her: 2 skirts, 2 blouses, and a pair of black shoes that actually fit. When she stepped into the sitting room, Clara stared at her. "Where are you going like that?" she asked, eyes full of suspicion. "To work," Ella answered quietly. "Work where? Who even employed you?" Clara scoffed. "You. That cannot even sweep this small parlor well." Mr. John looked up from his newspaper. "Which work?" he asked sharply. "In a company, sir," Ella said, keeping her voice steady. "M-Tech." They both laughed loudly, like she had told a big joke. "You." Clara clapped her hands. "In M-Tech? Do you know how many people are looking for work there? You think they are looking for hungry chickens like you." Mr. John shook his head. "Don't disgrace me there," he said. If they discover you are my stepdaughter, they will think I am also useless. In fact, don't tell anyone in that company my name." Ella felt the words cut, but she only nodded. "Yes, sir," she whispered. Outside, as she walked to the bus stop, her heart trembled between fear and excitement. The thought of sitting in an office, holding files, using a computer one day, it all felt like a dream. At MTech, she was welcomed by the HR assistant, who showed her around gently. "This is your desk," the woman said. "You will help with filing documents, making photocopies, arranging meeting rooms, and running small errands inside the building. If you don't understand anything, ask. Don't be afraid." Ella nodded gratefully. The first few days were hard. She made mistakes with the photocopy machine. She arranged some files in the wrong cabinet. She forgot to knock once before entering a meeting room. People corrected her, some with patience, some with small irritation. But no one beat her. No one wished her dead. No one said she was a mistake. That alone felt like air. Sometimes, when she carried files past the glass wall of Michael's office, she saw him inside, talking to people in suits. He looked serious, powerful. But whenever his eyes met hers, he gave a small, encouraging nod. She always lowered her head quickly, shy. But his small nods kept her going. One afternoon, about 3 weeks after she started, he sent for her. Her heart jumped when she heard. "The CEO wants to see you," the HR assistant said. "Don't be afraid. Just go." Ella walked to his office slowly, her palms sweating. She knocked gently. "Come in," his voice answered. She entered. His office was big but simple. A large table, some chairs, a shelf of files, a window that showed the city outside. "Good afternoon, sir," she greeted. "Good afternoon, Ella," he replied, waving her to sit. "How are you finding the work?" She sat on the edge of the chair. "It is new to me, sir," she said, "but I am learning small. Thank you for the opportunity." He smiled slightly. "I have been watching your progress," he said. "You come early. You stay late when there is work. You treat everyone with respect. That is good." Her cheeks warmed. "Tell me," he added softly, "how are things at home?" Her shoulders dropped a little. "The same, sir," she said. "They don't like that I got this job. They say I will still fail. They say I don't deserve good things." Michael's jaw tightened. "Do they know how much you are earning now?" he asked. "No, sir," she said quickly. "If they know, they will take everything. I am keeping it quiet. HR is paying my salary into an account like you suggested." "I thank you." He nodded. "Good. Save your money. Don't rush to spend. One day, you may need it for something big." She looked at him carefully. "Why do you care so much, sir?" she asked. "You have many workers. You did not have to help me like this." He was quiet for a moment. "When I was young," he said slowly, "I was also treated like I was nothing. After my father died, some relatives took our house. My mother and I suffered. People who ate in our home before started acting like they did not know us." He paused, eyes far away for a second. "But one stranger helped us," he continued. "He paid my school fees without telling anyone." He said, "One day, if life lifts you, remember to lift someone else." Michael looked at her directly. "You are my own someone else, Ella." Her eyes filled with tears again. "Thank you, sir," she whispered. "I don't know what I did to deserve this." He shook his head gently. "You didn't do anything wrong," he said. "You finally did something right. For someone who could not repay you. That level of heart is rare. I just refused to ignore it." There was a soft knock. "Sir, your next meeting is ready." His secretary's voice came through the door. "All right," he replied, then turned back to Ella. "You can go," he said kindly. "Keep working hard. Don't let anyone convince you that you are a mistake. They are wrong." She stood up slowly. As she reached the door, he added, "And Ella, your life will not end in that house where they hate you." She turned, eyes shining. "Amen," she whispered. She stepped out into the corridor, heart full, steps light. The change came faster than Ella expected. Within 6 months, she had become more confident at work. She knew where most files were kept. She could use the photocopy machine without fear. She had even learned to type short emails with the help of another staff. Her salary, though small compared to others, looked big in her eyes. Every month, When she checked her account, she smiled. She did not touch the money. Not yet. At home, however, nothing changed. Mr. John still shouted at her. Clara still mocked her clothes. Her mother still watched in silence. One evening, she came back from work a little late. A meeting had stretched her closing time. The house was dark when she entered. The generator was on, but the sitting room felt heavy. Where are you coming from? Mr. John demanded. From work, sir, she said. At this time? Clara hissed. Or from one man's bed? Ella's stomach twisted. I would never. A slap cut her words. You think you are better than us now? Mr. John shouted. Because you work in one company. Listen to me. You will still return to this house with nothing. Mark my words. Ella swallowed her pain. She could have answered back. She could have reminded him that he never paid 1 naira for her feeding now. But she stayed quiet, because she knew something they did not know. Her life was no longer trapped in that house. One Friday afternoon, MTech prepared for an important event, a major partnership ceremony. There would be a signing, photos, reporters. Staff moved around with extra speed. Ella helped arrange chairs in the small hall. She placed bottles of water on tables. She checked that the microphone was working. Be careful, one senior staff told her. Today is big. The CEO's life story will appear small beside this deal. Ella smiled and nodded. By 3 p.m., guests began to arrive. Men in suits, women in smart dresses, drivers waiting outside, cameras. From the corner where she stood with a notepad, Ella watched everything. She felt proud to be part of the company, even in a small way. Then she saw a face that made her blood run cold. Mr. John. He stepped into the reception, wearing a worn shirt tucked into trousers that had seen better days. A cheap tie hung loosely around his neck. Behind him walked a man Ella recognized from TV, a local contractor. Beside them, Clara, no, not Clara, just another staff. Mr. John held a file as if it contained his future. Ella quickly turned her face away, heart racing. What is he doing here? She thought. How did he get into MTech? The receptionist spoke to them. The contractor explained something. They had come to present a proposal. Their business was struggling. They needed MTech as backing for a small project. Wait here, the receptionist said. We will see if anyone can attend to you after the event. They sat down in the waiting area. Mr. John's eyes moved around, sharp and hungry. When they passed over Ella, he did not recognize her immediately. Her office clothes, neat hair, an ID card made her look like a different person. She prayed he would not look again. But life, sometimes, likes drama. As she walked past with a tray of water, one bottle slipped and rolled toward them. She bent quickly to pick it up. Their eyes met. For a second, both froze. Ella, he said, voice full of disbelief. She straightened slowly, tray shaking in her hands. Good afternoon, sir, she said quietly. His eyes widened. What are you doing here? He asked loud enough for others to hear. You work here? She nodded once. The contractor looked between them. You know someone in this company? He asked Mr. John, hopeful. Mr. John's chest swelled suddenly. Yes, now, he lied quickly. This is my relative. She works here, very close to the boss. Ella's heart burned at the word relative from his mouth. At home, she was barely human. Here, she was suddenly useful. Why didn't you tell us? He continued, smiling fakely. You are just hiding yourself. And? So you can be forming big girl. She opened her mouth, but before she could answer, a voice came from behind. Is there a problem? Michael stood there, hands in his pockets, eyes taking in the scene calmly. Everyone in the reception straightened. Good afternoon, sir, the receptionist greeted quickly. Mr. John turned and saw him, saw the CEO he had seen in newspapers on TV. A man untouchable. He smiled, nervous but eager. Good afternoon, sir, he said. We are just happy to see our daughter working in your great company. She did not tell us she knows you. Michael glanced at Ella. Her face was tight. Her eyes shone with unshed tears. Her shoulders were stiff. He looked back at Mr. John. Your daughter, he repeated slowly. Stepdaughter, Mr. John corrected. But I raised her, fed her, gave her a home. You know how children are. Sometimes they don't value what you do for them. The lies felt like stones in Ella's ears. Michael's jaw shifted slightly. I see, he said calmly. And you are here for what? Mr. John lifted the file. We have a proposal, sir, he said quickly. My small company wants to partner with MTech. If you can sign this, it will help us. We are suffering. Things are hard. I see, Michael repeated. There was a long pause. Ella, he said suddenly, still looking at Mr. John. Please, come and stand beside me. She moved slowly and stood at his right side, heart beating fast. Michael looked at her, then at Mr. John again. Our company does not hate people for existing, he said quietly. We do not beat them for choosing kindness. We do not starve them of love. Mr. John's smile began to freeze. I don't understand, sir, he said. We have always cared for her. We. Michael raised a hand slightly. Enough, he said, not loudly, but with a weight that filled the room. I have heard enough about you from your stepdaughter's tears. The reception area grew very quiet. Employees nearby pretended to look away, but their ears were sharp. You came here for help, Michael said slowly. But help is not blind. It looks at the heart. He turned to Ella gently. Do you want us to partner with this company? He asked. Her eyes widened. Sir, she whispered. I am asking you, he said. Do you want us to give him this opportunity? Time stopped. She thought of long nights on a thin mattress, of belts on her back, of words that cut deeper than wounds. She thought of I hate her breath, of I wish she will disappear, of her mother's silence. Tears filled her eyes. She looked at Mr. John. He was sweating now, face pale under his brown skin. For the first time, power sat in her hands. Her voice shook. She swallowed, then spoke clearer. I don't want revenge, sir. But I also don't want to reward wickedness. She wiped her eyes. Please, don't partner with him, she said softly. He will only use people and throw them away. The way he tried to throw me away. Silence. Michael nodded once. He turned to Mr. John. You heard her, he said. We will not be taking your proposal. Mr. John's mouth opened. Sir, please, he panicked. Don't mind her. She is ungrateful. You beat gratitude out of her, Michael cut in. She still found some for a stranger. That stranger was me. Everyone in the room stared. He let the words sink in. At that filling station, he continued, when you sent her to buy fuel and threatened her if anything happened, she gave me your last money. Mr. John's legs looked suddenly weak. If one day life lifts you, Michael said, voice calm but firm, remember, the people you stepped on to climb up may be the same people standing at the gate when you come down. He turned away. Security, he called softly. Please escort these gentlemen out. We have an important event to prepare for. 2 guards stepped forward politely. Sir, this is unfair. Mr. John shouted, voice breaking. After all I did for her. All you did for her, Michael replied without turning back, was teach her how not to treat people. He looked at Ella. Go and get ready in the hall, he said gently. We have work to do. She nodded, tears falling freely now. But for once, they were not just tears of pain. They were tears of release. That night, Ella sat on the bed in her small room and looked at the packed bag by the door. Clothes, few books, a small framed picture of her real father that her mother once hid for her. It was all she owned. Yet for the first time, she did not feel poor. After the incident at MTech, things had moved fast. During the event, Michael spoke briefly about compassion, about how one small act of kindness could rewrite a destiny. He did not mention her name, but when his eyes met hers in the crowd, she knew. Later, after guests had gone, he called her to his office again. You cannot stay in that house anymore, he said gently. Her heart pounded. But I have nowhere else to go, sir, she whispered. He slid an envelope across the table. This is not a gift, he said. It is a beginning. 6 months of your salary, moved forward. You have already worked hard enough to earn my trust. Use it to get a small place. Somewhere safe. Somewhere you can breathe. Tears filled her eyes instantly. Sir, this is too much, she said. What if I fail? What if I lose the job? What if? Stop, he said softly. You will not fail. But even if you fall, you will rise again. Because you now know your value. No stepfather, no wicked word can remove that from you. He paused. I have also arranged a simple training program for you, he added. Computer skills, basic office management. In 1 year, you will not just be an assistant. You will be someone people come to for help. Her voice shook. Why do you believe in me this much? He smiled ice calm. Because you believed in a homeless stranger enough to give him everything. Let me also believe in you enough to give you something more than money. She cried openly then, not from pain, but from being seen. Now, sitting in her small room for the last time, she heard footsteps outside. Arguments. Clara's loud voice. Mr. John's heavy steps. Her mother knocked softly and entered. Her eyes were red, as if she had been crying secretly. Is it true? She asked, voice low. You are leaving? Ella nodded slowly. Yes, Mama. I got a small room near the company. I can't stay here anymore. Her mother's shoulders shook. John is angry, she whispered. He says you disgraced him, that you made him lose a big chance. But he has forgotten how many times he disgraced you. She sat on the bed, hands twisting in her lap. I am sorry, she said suddenly, tears filling her eyes. I am sorry I did not protect you. I was afraid. I thought if I spoke, he would throw both of us out. I chose silence, and that silence hurt you. Ella's chest ached. Mama, she whispered. Her mother looked at her with deep shame. You have every right to hate me, she said. But I beg you don't hate yourself because of us. You are not a mistake. You were never a mistake. Ella's tears fell silently. She reached out and held her mother's hand. It was rough, tired. I don't hate you, she said softly. I just can't stay here. I can't breathe in this house. Her mother nodded slowly, accepting the truth. When your father was alive, she said, voice shaking, he said you would be great. That your heart was too kind to remain small. I did not believe him then, but now I see it. She looked at the bag. Go, she whispered, before he comes back, before he starts shouting. Live a different life. Don't become like us. They hugged. It was the first real hug they had shared in years. When Ella stepped out into the compound with her bag, Clara stood by the door, arms folded, lips twisted. So you are now a big girl, Clara sneered, walking out just like that. Don't forget this place when that your boss gets tired of you. Ella looked at her calmly. I will not forget this place, she said. It will always remind me of where I came from and where I never want to return. Mr. John's voice came from inside, shouting insults, calling her ungrateful, cursing her footsteps. She didn't answer. She walked to the gate. Her hand touched the metal one last time. Outside, the air felt different, lighter. At the junction, she saw a black car waiting. It was not the big car Michael used for events, just a simple, clean car. The driver stepped out and opened the back door. Madam Ella, he said kindly. Olga said I should bring you to your new place. Madam. The word felt strange, but not painful. She entered the car slowly. As they drove away, she looked back once. The house where she had been hated and beaten grew smaller, then disappeared. Ahead, new streets moved toward her. New walls, new doors, new chances. In her bag was money she had never dreamed of holding. In her phone was a message from Michael. This is not charity. This is justice for the girl who gave her last money when she had nothing. Walk into your new life with your head up, Ella. You deserve to exist without apology. Her throat tightened. She whispered into the air as if he could hear. Thank you, she said. The sun was setting, painting the sky with soft orange. For years, she had been treated like a burden for existing. Now, because of one act of kindness at a filling station, she finally had a place where her breath was not a problem. It was proof that she was alive, and that, at last, was something beautiful.